Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the launch of the Africa Hub and Plastic Waste Innovation Platform powered by Plug and Play, obviously in partnership with the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. My name is Nicholas Chow. I am the Plug and Play Sustainability Lead for the MEA region, and I will be your moderator for today's event. This is our 6th innovation platform that we're launching, and we are very excited for the Africa Hub for so many reasons. And today you'll learn about Plug and Play, you'll learn about the Alliance, you'll also learn about ways to get involved, because at the end of the day, we need everyone to get involved to end plastic waste. And as I mentioned, this is the 6th hub, so we'll also be sharing details on the innovation platform, what's it all about, and also share our plans for Africa. We do have a fireside chat with our CEOs of Plug and Play and the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. A very interesting conversation with Dow and a startup called Empower, talking about their collaboration in Nigeria. And then you'll also hear from BASF and the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, sharing their perspectives on the opportunities of ending plastic waste. To kick us off, I'm going to give a quick overview of Plug and Play. And really our story begins a little over 15 years ago when our CEO, Saeed Amidi, rented office space to Google when they were roughly 3 people. It was an eye-opening experience, and he ended up investing into other prominent early stage startups like Logitech, PayPal, Dropbox, and Danger, and many others. And so over the years, we continued investing. Investing is definitely in our DNA. And as you can see, we are very excited about our portfolio companies. But when you think about Plug and Play, really our vision is that innovation should be open to anyone and anywhere. And the mission is to drive innovation by connecting the brightest minds worldwide. We do this through our innovation platform, which has 3 key pillars. First one being accelerator programs, running about 60 accelerator programs, which is a key focus for this event. And then the second one is corporate innovation. We're working with over 500 large corporations and fueling their innovation pipeline. And then the third is still, as an investor, part of our DNA, making about 200 investments per year all around the world. We have over 35 offices around the world to help build your global reach. And we're working, as I mentioned, with the largest corporate network in the world, with over 500 large corporations across many different industries. Plug and Play has 18 different verticals, sustainability being one of them. And so you can really see Plug and Play as an ecosystem of change makers. Corporations on one side, startups on the other, and Plug and Play is here to bring people together to drive innovation. When it comes to sustainability, we think about it in 3 core pillars: ending plastic waste, carbon neutrality, and sustainable fashion. And ending plastic waste is the topic for today. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Nicholas Kolesh, the Vice President of Projects at the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, for some opening remarks.
Good morning to our distinguished colleagues, guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nicholas Kolesh, Vice President of Projects at the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the launch of the End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform in Johannesburg. I'm extremely proud to say that we've been in a partnership with Plug and Play since 2019, and on this platform, we've identified startups and brought them along for the journey with us. Partnering with Plug and Play, we launched the End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform across 6 key hubs in Silicon Valley, Paris, Singapore, Shanghai, Sao Paulo, and now Johannesburg. Since the 2000s, there's been an amazing growth in the innovation space. The combination of innovation and disruption has helped us tackle very complex challenges, such as managing plastic waste pollution through strong leadership and swift action. Acting fast means thinking globally and acting locally. We have to be on the ground, working with community leaders, problem solvers, and businesses to find real-world solutions. Every ecosystem is different, and so finding new ideas is critical to drive real solutions. Today, the Alliance has put into place a robust and holistic approach to the plastic waste challenge, grounded on 4 key pillars: infrastructure, innovation, education and engagement, and cleanup. We know that the global community of innovators and entrepreneurs, especially here in Africa, are aware of both the challenge and the opportunity of addressing the plastic waste problem, and are rising to the occasion with innovative ideas and creative approaches. Since its inception, the End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform has engaged with more than 2,000 startups, with over 30 selected for our accelerator programs. Over $35 million in capital has been invested and deployed into these startups, and more than 75 commercial pilots with Alliance member companies have materialized. One example of a startup working with our member company Dow in Nigeria is Empower, a startup from our Silicon Valley cohort. They have just announced a new study as part of an ongoing partnership, which will examine the feasibility of advancing fully circular value chains in Nigeria to help close the loop on plastic waste. The study, which will be funded in part by the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation, will focus on the implementation of a scalable digital waste collection and recycling business model in Lagos. These findings will inform the long-term ambition of the partnership, which is to digitize local collection points, recyclers, and waste streams to ensure transparency and reliability of the process of tracking recyclable plastic waste and converting it into new sustainable packaging. This project will also see Dow and Empower examine the entire value chain to ensure sustainable plastic sourcing is commercially viable across all areas. They will also explore the potential to crowdsource and digitally track waste collection in order to create significant and reliable streams of raw material feedstocks, which will meet the needs of buyers. Another interesting example is Recyclei, who are using artificial intelligence, image recognition, and recycling robotics in automated turnkey solutions in the waste management industry. Recyclei recently partnered with Alliance member Total in a new project leveraging Recyclei's technology to automatically identify, categorize, and separate food-grade from non-food-grade plastic packaging. Total's teams will leverage their industrial and R&D expertise to improve the recyclability of plastics derived from household waste into high-performance recycled polymers suitable for food applications. Not least, we are also delighted to mention Literati, a startup from our Silicon Valley hub. Literati is an app that empowers individuals to make a significant, measurable impact on the environment. But it's more than just an app. It automatically geotags the image with the Litter AI tool and recommends tags for what kind of litter it is. With the data collected, Literati is able to create effective solutions that lead to lasting change. We worked with Literati to launch World Cleanup Day 2020, and from the success of that campaign, the relationship has only grown. And we are proud to have launched our global program, Clean for Change, with Literati at the heart of it. Each of these success stories just proves that collaboration is key in order to develop solutions that can impact change and have encouraged us to do even more. Our progress with Plug and Play has been truly amazing. We're excited and can't wait to see what future-forward ideas will come out of our Johannesburg hub. Startups with ideas in sustainability or plastic waste minimization can now have access to world-class resources and expertise through the Accelerator program, including the expertise of our member companies across the full plastic value chain. This is yet another new phase for the Alliance with Plug and Play in Johannesburg, and we're thrilled to be on this exciting journey with you. Thank you.
Needless to say, Plug and Play is equally proud to partner with the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. And next up, we have our CEO fireside chat with Saeed Amidi, CEO of Plug and Play, and Jacob Duer, CEO of the Alliance to End Plastic Waste.
Let's start. Jacob, it's great to be with you again. I remember last time we were together, we were so excited about launching Alliance to End Plastic Waste plug and play effort in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. And now it's incredible. We're going to go to a new continent. Can you please, for the audience, tell us what is your vision for Africa and what is your excitement? Because I know that you have worked there and been involved for more than 10 years. So I cannot say there can be a better person in the world to really lead this effort. Please tell us about Africa.
Thank you very much, Saeed, and it's great to see you again. And I'm excited, like, first of all, now with the launch of the South Africa hub, we have now covered the whole world when we talk innovation around the plastic waste innovation platform. I think that in itself is a milestone for our cooperation and for advancing our work. And then I couldn't be more proud and happy to see that we are now also covering Africa. And as you rightly pointed out, I have had the fortune of living in Africa for 10 years, both in West Africa and in East Africa. And on one hand, I have seen that incredible need to work in the area of plastic and plastic waste management. I've seen the devastation that the plastic waste in the environment is creating for society, for humanity, for the environment. But I've also seen, and that's what gives me so much hope with this program, that there is a lot to build on. The innovation, the spirit, and the growth among in particular the younger population and generation gives me a lot of hope for the continent, for progress, and above all for the work around plastic waste management. So I'm convinced with the launch of our innovation hub in South Africa covering the entire continent that we are going to see a positive avalanche of engagement and participation of startups across the entire continent. And I'm sure that we are going to find it difficult actually to narrow down the number of startups that we ultimately would want to incubate. I know that we have set a target of 10, but I hope actually that we'll be able to expand that number, because I think we are going to be positively surprised about the new ideas, new approaches to address this important topic of plastic waste in the environment.
Wonderful. You know, you always mention recapturing the value of plastic. And in some developing countries, I can really say the economics of recycling is really a profit-making endeavor. And I truly feel that will be in Africa, you know, collecting the plastic waste, helping municipalities to set up real garbage collection facilities. But really the economics, I think, works better in the developing countries. And I look forward to working with you, you know, with this 1.2 billion people population. May I ask, from your living experience in Africa, do you think we can educate the population to, you know, use garbage collection facilities as well as to segregate the plastics from the beginning?
Absolutely, we can, and you're absolutely right. Waste collection and ensuring that the value of the plastic waste doesn't go lost is an important part of our agenda, and I'm sure will be a lot of the ideas that we are getting forward as well through the hub from the different startups. The reality is that 3 billion people on this planet do not have access to waste collection. And unfortunately, a large part of that number are people living in Africa. We also know that the value of the plastic waste that's being lost to society every year is estimated at between 80 and $120 billion. We need to ensure that that value is captured and brought back into the system, contributing to a circular economy. Creating value for plastic in Africa, and we're already actually running a few projects for the Alliance in Ghana, and we're going to start soon with another few projects focusing on waste collection, working with the informal sector and ensuring that we create livelihoods for people. How do we make sure that on one hand we prevent not only the leakage of plastic waste into the environment, but also ensure that what already sits there is collected and brought back through recycling. This creates value, this creates an income to those who are collecting the waste, and we make an opportunity for recycling the plastic and bringing it back into products that are dependent on recycled material. Education is an integral part of this, and I'm absolutely convinced that education will be a key part of the success going forward here. We need to ensure, of course, that educational programs are tailor-made to the specific requirements and circumstances of the different countries in which we will be working, recognizing that Africa is a very vast continent with very different approaches and populations. And I think when we go forward, I hope that we are going to see submissions from startups from West Africa, from Central Africa, from East Africa, and from Southern Africa, because all of them will have different approaches, but important added value to contribute to educating the broader African population around plastic and plastic waste management.
Wonderful. I actually looked at your project in Ghana and the emphasis on helping women to become, I would call it, entrepreneurs. And I cannot resist by talking about Muhammad Yunus and Grameen Bank out of Bangladesh that really built an incredible empire empowering women to build a sustainable business for themselves. And I really enjoyed listening to that project you initiated in Ghana. And I think we need initiatives like this throughout Africa with a common goal, common result, but really we need to make cash flow and profitability to be able to sustain it. And economic situation in most of Africa can benefit, create jobs from this. And as you mentioned, education and jobs are needed in Africa. How do you think Alliance to End Plastic Waste and Plug and Play can jumpstart not one, but 100 projects like this throughout Africa?
I like that challenge, and I think it's something that we have to work on, and I think there are a lot of ways to do that. I mean, the approach of the Alliance is that we would like to work with startups, identify new solutions to tackling the problem of plastic waste in the environment and contributing to a circular economy. We want to help those startups working with Plug and Play and in deploying the solutions on the ground, testing and trialing them, and in many ways also de-risking them and then getting them investment ready for others to pick up on. And that's where I think the partnership between Plug and Play and the Alliance is unique. You are helping us bringing the startups to the forefront. You're helping incubating them. We are providing the technical expertise and input required, and we get them ready for scaling. And Plug and Play is also about scaling and working through your different investment funds. We see this as an opportunity for Plug and Play, but also through your broad networks of partners to get them to invest in the startups and therefore take them from one country or one community to many communities and many countries, and therefore multiplying significantly the impact.
Jacob, I would like to share some like aha moment for me today. We started our supply chain and logistic vertical 4 years ago. And it was amazing today when I was talking to Walmart, Shell, and many large corporations in US. Three of our startups in the first batch became a unicorn. This is 3 out of 12. Of course, perhaps they were doing well before they joined us. One of them was Project 44, and Flexport was another project. The other one is Platform Science. So they just improve logistics to take cost as well as help the environment by reducing waste of trucks going empty from or 40% full from point A to point B. I really hope with our first batch, we can find 3 unicorns in Africa.
I'm smiling because I'm hoping the same. And I think this is what it's all about. It's about finding the nuggets among all the ideas that are coming forward, incubating them, investing in them, and bringing them really to the size where they will have a significant impact. And it's all about impact that drives this. It's all about contributing to the broader sustainability agenda. We all have a deep responsibility and commitment to ensure that we protect our environment, but equally much that we protect our natural resources and we make best use of our resources. And if we can cultivate that spirit and that engagement and commitment among all the startups that we will be working with and incubating, I think not only will it be a win solutions in terms of bringing them to unicorn status, but above all, it will be a win for the environment and ultimately for our planet.
Wonderful, Jacob. And I wanted to challenge ourselves and our team to invite other than, Unilever, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Nestle, and plastic producers in South Africa and the rest of the world. I would like to challenge ourselves to bring in to the fold MTN, which is one of the largest telecom companies in the world, as well as Sanlam Group, which is one of the largest insurance companies throughout Africa, as well as AB InBev, which I believe is the largest beer company in the world, started in South Africa. I believe if we can mobilize both their knowledge, because they work in every country in Africa, their money, I like them to invest money. I think it will lift the whole society. How can we go after these great companies with multiple locations through Africa to join our journey together?
I mean, at the Alliance, we believe that in order to be successful and make a real significant impact, everyone needs to be part of the solution. It's not only the plastic producers, the users, and the waste management companies and converters and recyclers, but it's everyone who has a relationship with the material plastic, and that means everyone in society. So when you mention beverage companies, when you mention insurance companies and TV stations and news networks, those are an integral part of raising awareness, raising knowledge, contributing to education and engagement of the broader society as such. Therefore, we want, from an Alliance perspective, to invite them in, participate actively in reaching out to startups, getting them to come forward and submit ideas, looking at working with the Alliance to End Plastic Waste and potentially even joining the more than 60 companies, some of the biggest in the world that is driving this agenda right now, but also looking to these companies to invest in the right startups. Resources exist, solutions are being created, and we need to match the two in order to have the type of impact that we are looking to have in terms of ending plastic waste in the environment and contributing to a circular economy.
Wonderful. You know, one of our exciting companies in Africa, it's called Flutterwave. When I met the founders 4 years ago in my office, they visited me from Berkeley, and they mentioned to me that they're going to be the biggest payment gateway in Africa. And 4 years later, they just raised $350 million at $1.5 billion valuation. And again, I believe if we can mobilize uh, women and educate them, we also need to arrange payment to them, hopefully through mobile payment. And really, let's say if we could mobilize 2 million entrepreneurs, you can see that I think small. If we can mobilize 2 million entrepreneurs like Muhammad Yunus has done with Grumman Brand, but with the focus on sustainability, I think we will show the world. What do you think about that?
I'm smiling because I like that idea, and I think let's make that a challenge for us, Plug and Play and the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. And to go back to my first point, if this is to happen, and if this can happen, then it is in Africa where it will happen. Just talking about mobile pay, and when I lived in Kenya, Kenya was one of the first countries in the world where the whole notion of mobile pay actually started, and the way that it transformed financial transactions and the flow of resources was extraordinary in record time. So the right idea with the right education and the right commitment and the right investment, it will take off very fast. So Saeed, why don't we make that our challenge, mobilizing 2 million entrepreneurs around driving the agenda of ending plastic waste in the environment in Africa.
Hallelujah. I really, really like that. And to be able to do that, I think we need to have the 20 of the largest conglomerates in Africa to join us. I don't know if you know NASPER, but is one of the most successful technology investment companies in the world. And, you know, I believe early days they invested in companies like Tencent and Alibaba in China. So I really love Africa. I've been there, I think, only 6 times, but not 10 years. But it's the most fascinating continent, in my opinion. And let's hopefully keep some of the pureness and nature and make a huge impact together with Alliance to End Plastic Waste. I really welcome that challenge and I look forward to that journey. Any closing remark, Jacob?
Just from my side, first of all, as always, thank you to Plug and Play, but equally much to everyone who's going to submit and be part of our journey. Join us, and by joining forces with Plug and Play and the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, we can and will make a difference. We will create new opportunities, new employment opportunities and investment opportunities, all with the overall objective of contributing to a more sustainable world.
If I may, because I said the number 2 million, and some people may think that is unrealistic, we have a company that is called Pay Active that helps the people to get money in advance before their paycheck. And I introduced Pay Active to Walmart 5 years ago. And there is right now 1 million associates of Walmart that have access to their cash if they need it before the paycheck. And realistically, if we empower technology and we can create opportunity for people, getting, 1.2 billion people in Africa, many of them need job, many of them are willing to work hard. So I really would be a happy man when I totally retire if we have achieved 2 million people working toward the cause of sustainability and ending plastic waste in Africa.
Let's make that our target. And let me also say, I hope you won't retire too early, because it's going to take us a little bit of time to get there, but we will get there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Great talking to you, Jacob. Hope to see you.
Thank you very much, Saeed. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you both for sharing that insight. Next up, we are going to talk about the innovation platform, what's it all about, and also how to get involved for the Africa Hub. First off, the goal of the innovation platform is to identify and accelerate the impact of emerging technology and solutions to end plastic waste globally. And we're doing this through a 3-month program for startups and corporations with 3 key activities. The first one being partnerships. How do we drive partnerships and drive collaboration between startups and corporations? The second one is fundraising. How do we attract more investments into ending plastic waste and the key technologies that we need to reach our goals? And then the third is all around mentorship. How do we foster innovation? How do we foster the new entrepreneurs building the solutions we need? How do we provide them resources, support, advice, insights, whatever we can do to help make sure that they are successful as entrepreneurs to build and scale the most prominent technologies out there? And how do we make this happen? We have a handful of things that we do throughout the program. First being corporate to startup connections, trying to drive innovation by connecting with the right person at the right time. Second being advisor sessions. This is where we have one-on-one sessions with our advisor network on anything to do with entrepreneurship for supporting these startups. And the third being expert workshops, bi-weekly sessions all around different topics that every startup can identify with. And then the fourth being working with the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. They are the key partner here in trying to find potential projects where startups will fit and add value. The fourth being investor introductions. As startups are building and getting a little bit more mature, how do we bring investors into the equation, help them scale their technology and their business? And then the sixth is by being part of the program, every startup can take advantage of different perks, discounts, credits for technology and for platforms and tools to help them run their business. And as part of this launch, we want to encourage people to get involved in the Africa Innovation Platform. This is for startups, for corporations, for investors. We need everyone to come together to end plastic waste. And again, even though it's based in South Africa, in Johannesburg, this is for startups across all of Africa. And so for any startups listening in that are tackling collection, sorting, processing, end of use, anything with the informal workforce, we encourage you to sign up and apply. You can find the link here. We'll also put it in the chat for anyone, but it's plugandplaytechcenter.com/endplasticwaste. And we want you guys to apply. You can apply now until July 9th, so you have roughly 1 month to apply. And for corporations and investors listening in, feel free to connect with me to get involved. You can email me at nicholas@pnp. And to make it easy, we are launching a poll right now. You should see something on your screen. If you want to get involved, if you want to learn more, feel free to click yes, and we'll follow up after this. Moving on, we are going to dive deeper into the partnership that Nicholas mentioned earlier today. Adjoa Coleman from Dow and Willem Meyer from Empower sharing their details and their learnings and their insights from their partnership together and the work that they are doing in Nigeria.
Willem, Adjoa, super happy to have you guys and speaking with you guys here today. I think just to kick us off, let's do a quick introduction on yourself. If you could talk about who you are and your role at your company, and we'll go from there. So Willem, if you want to jump in and start, or Adjoa, you can start.
Yeah, okay. I'll start then, for sure. Yeah, so I'm Willem, I'm CEO of Empower, and yeah, we're doing this tracking platform where we digitize plastic waste streams and track them back into recycling and new products again.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adjoa Coleman. I'm the Sustainability and Advocacy Manager for Dow's Packaging and Specialty Plastics business in Africa. I'm also the country manager for our office in Ghana, and I currently sit in Lagos, Nigeria.
Perfect, perfect. Well, welcome both of you guys. First question goes to Willem. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what Empower does, and can you tell us a little bit about what Empower was doing in Africa before you connected with Adjoa?
Yes, sure. Empower is really trying to create this digital infrastructure that you need to close the loop and create a circular economy. So it's about incentivizing collection, segregation at source, making sure materials are caught before they become plastic waste, or at least collected if they become waste, and then kept in the economy. And what we were doing in Africa from before, we had a couple of different projects in Tanzania and Nigeria where we were working with local collection organizations and aggregators, where we were kind of digitizing what they were doing, registering how much they were collecting per month, and then also matching that both with potential funding for cleanups, but also with potential off-takers for the plastic that they were using. So we had the project in Kano in Nigeria, where we had collected 20 million of these water sachets that are usually just becoming waste, ending up on streets and sewers and landfills. And we managed to collect that and match that with a potential buyer in Germany, and created that closed loop, really, where I started collecting water sachets from the markets and bringing it into recycling. So that's where we were when we also started talking to Dow.
All right, perfect. And I think that's a good segue to Adjoa. Can you share a little bit more about Dow's perspective on the challenge you were trying to solve at Dow, and why is that important? And ultimately, what did you see in Empower's solution that you thought was a good fit that sparked your interest?
Thank you very much, Nick. So Dow, as a plastic raw material supplier or global material science company, has obviously seen everything that's going on with plastics in the environment and believe that this is absolutely unacceptable. And so we thought of our role within the value chain and how we can specifically play a part in turning the system around. And so we've been working on this for quite a significant number of years. However, last year, we made two specific sustainability commitments, or set two specific sustainability targets around plastics. The first one is to stop the waste, where we said that by 2030, we will enable 1 million metric tons of plastic to be collected, reused, or recycled through our direct actions and partnerships globally. And that will be an annual goal starting 2030 and onwards. Additionally, we said that we would close the loop, where by 2035, we would enable 100% of Dow products sold into packaging applications to be reusable or recyclable. Under closing the loop, one specific pillar which we're trying to enable within Africa is mechanical recycling, which is where you enable a circular economy for a particular plastic material by ensuring that it gets collected post-use and utilized in creating new resins, which would then end up in new packaging in collaboration with brand owners and retailers. Now, in order to do mechanical recycling at scale, you need a consistent, reliable source of the target waste material. We started a pilot in Nigeria over a year ago to recover and recycle the plastic sachet water pouch. Now, this application is not globally known, so I like to describe it to people as say you take like a Ziploc sandwich bag size and fill it up with drinking water and seal it at the end. This is basically what that is. And it's how millions of people in Nigeria have access to drinking water on a daily basis. So we, of course, knew that this application was used at scale and that the structure itself was highly recyclable. But knowing that and actually being able to collect it and recycle it is a completely different story. And so the way that we ended up being aligned with Empower, coming together with Empower, is that we found out about their project in Kano, of course, through the Alliance to End Plastic Waste and the Plug and Play link. And it turned out that they were using technology to help to streamline the collection of the very material that we were looking to collect for our pilot. And so we asked them if they would be willing to work with us to enable a similar system in Lagos, Nigeria, which is a different part of the country, where our project is based. And this is essentially where the partnership started. And so this will really help to enable the collection at scale that we need for our mechanical recycling and also make it more efficient and streamlined.
Amazing. I love those initiatives, and it's been great to see you guys work together. Will, when it comes to this pilot and this partnership that you guys are fostering, as an entrepreneur, what are you hoping to achieve when working with such a big organization like Dow?
I think, as you say, it's been really good experience working with Dow, and they've really been efficient and quick, which you don't always expect that when you work with big companies. It can take some time, but I think that's really been impressive with what Dow has been doing. That's really things happening and taking action. So that's been good. And of course, from our side, it's really about bringing it to scale. We're a small company, but we have a scalable technology, and being able to work with Dow, where you can really look at larger volumes, larger projects. Also bringing in other stakeholders that see the potential in this together with Dow when it comes to, local governments or producer responsibility organizations, other off-takers that are interested as well, because they see that this is something that actually can get to industrial scale of recycling. I think that's, we really see a benefit there, and really happy to, take this forward in the way we're doing now.
Amazing. And diving a little bit deeper on the partnership, just trying to understand a little bit more about what it really looks like, and also if there's some initial results from this collaboration that you guys can share. Would love to hear it from you. So maybe I'll pass that question to Adjoa.
Sure, Nick. So from our standpoint, as I mentioned before, trying to enable collection at scale for the sachet water application seemed like quite a daunting challenge. There are many nuances around the solid waste management space in Africa, which make it hard to recover some specific materials. Things like lack of separation at source, which means that both organic and inorganic materials are mixed right at the start. Significantly low collection rates, which means that you're already starting from a point where some materials that you may even want to bring back into the loop are not even collected, whether by formal or informal systems. And so any attempt to recycle those materials needs to really start from scratch or with the grassroots effort. And so partnering with Empower has helped us to start to break down those barriers and to close some of those gaps. So for example, in first speaking to Wilhelm around enabling the collection of the sachet water, we identified that there really was a huge lack of information in this space around who specifically is collecting the material and who is involved in the value chain. And so one of the first things that Empower had proposed was a study to map the value chain for this material in Nigeria. And so we worked with them through an application and with support from NORAD, or the Norwegian agency, to be able to launch a study to map this value chain for this material as well as other plastics of value, which we then will use that data to enhance the project. The second key aspect was around connecting with critical stakeholders within the value chain. And so one of the things that I've done with Empower and with Wilhelm is to introduce him to some of the key players or most of the key players within the plastic value chain in Nigeria, because that's how the pieces come together, right? We know as DAO that we can't do it alone, and that everyone within the value chain needs to come together to make these systems work. And so through some of those introductions, I've seen a lot of engagement between Empower and the other organizations, especially the collectors and aggregators, to help to digitalize their systems, which then creates a one-stop shop where you can know the specific materials, what quantities they're available in, where they will come from, and how specifically we can have access to them for our project. I'm sure Wilhelm has some other key highlights from our project that he can share.
Yeah, no, I think that's really the core of it. And as you say, it really helps to create that flow of information and data that didn't really exist before, right? Because you had waste in a linear system where waste is just something you want to get rid of and no one really cares. And to make this work, you really need data and easy integration and interaction between all the different parties. And I think that's what we can manage to do here. And this kind of partnership is a bit of a catalyst there, with bringing in kind of the resources, the different parts of the value chain, as well as you introduced us to a lot of different organizations that see the value of being part of a larger ecosystem, that really can work together to create this transparency and efficiency that is needed. So yeah, I think that's definitely a core part. And we have this study, as you mentioned there, also where NORAD has been coming in, and where we have a two-year really full mapping of the Nigerian ecosystem that we see that can be then possibly also used as a system that we can take further in other countries as well. So I think it's a lot of interesting potential and a lot of different partners coming together to work on this problem.
Well, I have to say, I love the initiative because I love anything to do with data, but also because I love to see the cross value chain collaboration. I think that is amazing to hear about and see in practice, and that it's adding value to the entire value chain. I think that's really interesting. So from my experience, seeing a lot of innovation, seeing a lot of partnerships, is that there's always some unique learning that maybe you didn't expect going into it that you walk away with. So this is a question for both of you guys, either of you guys. Is there a key learning or a takeaway that you guys are willing to share based off of this collaboration, based off of this partnership?
Sure, I can start. So I think that from my end, the value of technology or digitalization within the solid waste management space, especially when it comes to recycling, is my biggest learning. You would be surprised how many people are willing to embrace a system or an app that helps them to make waste collection or aggregation significantly easier. And the fact that these apps actually do play a key role in doing this, right? It works for both the aggregators and collectors, as well as the off-takers, because it really helps to bring them together on a platform that they previously may not have been connected on. And so for me, I think that's really the key learning, that as we progress into this digital age, we need to understand that tech really does have a role to play in every aspect of what we're trying to do, and especially in this waste management space, discovering startups like Empower that really have solutions that close some of the gaps that we have to enable a circular economy for plastics has really been monumental.
Yeah, and I can maybe add something from our perspective there. I think learning is that this is really, from our end, is finding the partners that want to do something, and it doesn't need to be everything from the beginning, but I think this is really a problem that's looking for solutions. So I think going out there and starting doing a small project, making something happen, it really has this snowball effect, because there's so many looking to find projects that can make a difference, can make a change. So by that, you will actually get attention and more support, and a network that works towards the same goal. So I think that's a learning from this, that we working with DAO and making something happen. We really see it's a bigger ecosystem here, wanting to do and achieve the same things, and that's inspiring as well as good learning, I think.
I love both those learnings. I think at Plug and Play, we do preach, small is beautiful, start small and grow from there. And kudos to both of you guys for doing that and taking some action there. So maybe as a last question here, as you know, this event, it basically marks the launch of the Africa Hub for the End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform. What would you say to the African innovation ecosystem to help create this environment to foster more startup and corporate collaboration?
So Nick, Africa is a continent that has so much potential, also aligned to the fact that there is a significant amount of the population that is quite young, right? And so aligned to this, we're seeing quite a boom in entrepreneurship and in innovation to help solve some of our problems, and also looking at where the developed world is and seeing how we can leapfrog using technology as a bridge. And so considering this, I would say that anyone coming into the plug and play system, or any startups that are looking to get a boost in this space, this is really a big opportunity, or a huge opportunity for them to grow their business and to be able to create meaningful initiatives similar to what we've just spoken about, working with Empower to enable potentially commercialization of a plastic recycled material. And so, like you said, definitely start small. I think that when people look at the magnitude of some of the issues, something like the issue of plastic waste, it's so big that when people consider it, sometimes they don't know where to start. I'm also a big fan of starting small, or at least doing something and seeing what works, right? And so this is really the space for innovation, the space for testing and experimenting, failing, trying again, and learning and doing more, right? So I would say anyone looking to come on board, come with an open mind, and you never know, what you create might be the next big thing that could change the face of plastic waste management, or enabling a circular economy in Africa.
I couldn't say it better myself.
For sure. And I can only second that as well. I mean, one of the things that we learn now in different projects in Africa is really that innovation going on. As you say, young population, they have a lot of solutions, a lot of know-how, and there are apps out there that are really good. And definitely think it's several leapfrogging opportunities there where you have systems better than what we have in Norway, where I live. And it's really interesting to see how we can build together with them as well to really make more holistic solutions that work locally and can be tied into the more global ecosystems. I think it's huge potential joining programs like this, connecting to everyone else and learn from it. It's I should take that opportunity for sure.
Well, Adjoa, Willem, first off, I love the collaboration you guys are doing. I'm following it closely. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, sharing your insight, but ultimately sharing your ambition to take real action and move quickly and move fast. So again, I can't say thank you more. And I just want to say thanks for joining today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick.
It's always great to hear about corporate and startup collaboration, because it's amazing to see what can be possible when you work together. But next up, we're going to move to the final speakers for today. Yash Mishra, Investor Relations at the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, alongside Remy Jambon, Managing Director at BASF, really talking about the opportunities in the startup ecosystem for the Africa Hub. All right, Remy, Yash, thank you for joining us. We're going to have a quick conversation here. So just to jump right in, I think we'll do a round of introductions. Remy, if you can start and just introduce yourself and your role at BASF.
Okay, thank you, Nicolas. So I'm basically Rémi Jambon. I'm working as a managing director for BASF located in Ivory Coast. We are responsible for all the sub-Saharan region, French speaking. And basically I'm trying to push all the sustainability topic in the region and especially in Ivory Coast today.
And Yash, I love your background. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Yash, and I am based with the Alliance in Singapore at the headquarters. My role in the Alliance is to help some of the shape some of the thinking around sustainability and impact finance. And in the particular role, we try and see how we can scale innovative technologies around the region.
Great, awesome. And so just to jump in with the first question, for us, this is about the innovation platform, launching across Africa. Remy, would love to hear a little bit about, your role when it comes to innovation and new business within BASF.
So what we are trying to do with the BASF and managing director, we 2 years ago we created a new association in Côte d'Ivoire called Ivorian Plastic Waste Recovery Association. So in this association, we are focusing to try to solve the plastic topic in general. So in this association, we have a lot of different big companies like Veolia, like Nestle, Coca-Cola, Unilever, and we have all the value chain on the industry, the consumer and the recyclers. It is the first thing we are trying to do, and in parallel we had some initiatives in BASF Nigeria. So we are focusing on the cane cycling project. You know that BASF is focusing on sustainability more and more and worldwide. So the cane cycling project is set up in Nigeria, in Lagos, in a small scale. So we are transforming the plastic waste to crude oil based on the production on pyrolysis. So what Nigeria is doing, we are trying to push that and to set up in Ivory Coast as well.
It sounds like some great initiatives there that you're working on. And Yash, you have the innovation side. Obviously, financing is a big part of that. We'd love to learn a little bit more about that role when it comes to financing and driving innovation with startups.
Yeah, yes, thank you. So the way we look at driving innovation is there are great ideas everywhere, and they can start out really small or they can start out really big. But the way we look at innovation is in terms of its rapid scalability. We look at the impact angle that it actually drives, and plastic waste, I believe, in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be the newest source of returns, investment returns, only because there is a big gap that needs to be addressed in what we call to achieving plastic circularity. And to get to do that, you need to have different parts of the value chain actually start out into different innovative technologies than that which exist currently. And that, I believe, is, as I said, the newest source of investment returns for investors, impact investors.
Super interesting. And I think impact investing is obviously a really hot topic. Just to maybe double click on that one, I'm curious when it comes to evaluating impact, can you walk us through a little bit more details on how do you think about evaluating and measuring impact?
Yeah, so I think right now there is a taxonomy, as I say, around sustainability and impact investing, which happens to be just the buzzwords. But I come from the world of global capital markets, okay? And there we look at impact investing with a bit more nuanced lens, which means that everything, when you say these UN SDG goals, everything can be ticked into it, whether you are a chemical company or whether you are a oil virgin plastic producer. Everybody creates impact, right? But the way we look at it here in the lens of impact investing is it should be commensurate to the asset class that you're investing in. For example, if you're investing in startups, it's what we call seed capital, unlisted private equity. So if you are taking on risk capital at that particular level, the return should be commensurate with the risk that you take on. That means, that means assessing an individual technology for its potential of not just its technical viability, but its potential of scalability into different regions around the world. Because if you can't do that, you don't really have a story which that relates, as I said, to the risk that you take on. So.
Right. And we're going to get more into the risks and opportunities and things like that in a second. I want to take one step back. Have a question for both of you guys. From your perspectives, because you guys have very different perspectives, which I love. What do you feel like needs to happen across the value chain or across, the innovation ecosystem to successfully end plastic waste? Remy, maybe I'll pass that one to you to start.
Yeah, for me, it's we have a lot of different topic on that question. If you want to change the plastic issue and to solve the plastic issue, you have to find an entrepreneur at the field. You have to find the money first. You have to change the behavior in general. It's you have to change all the political behavior as well in our countries like Africa. I don't know for the other countries, but in Africa it's like that. You have to all the initiatives are good to develop that, but one of the main topic is to find the money. And what I already mentioned is that it's easier to find a big amount of money than small money to start up. So it's one of the main topic for me.
And I think that's super interesting. Find that big money. Sometimes it's easier to find the big money than the small money. Yash, from your perspective, how does that impact startups and their thought process when it comes to scaling and maybe even starting?
No, I think Remy makes a great point. To make impact investments, first and foremost, it needs to make change on the plastic waste value chain. It actually needs to me two key things to happen. One, as I said, you need to look at plastic waste as a source of return, right? So there has to be money in it for someone to actually recycle it, for the product that is to be sold as a recycled product to be actually making money for the guys who use it, and for the consumer to be at a price point that it is comparable for them to actually adopt the usage without it becoming what I call paying a green premium for it. Okay, so first is the price point at which recycled plastic is the same as virgin plastic. Okay, so that's the first, as from a consumer point of view. From an entrepreneur point of view, the person who recycles plastic or whatever innovative technology has to have a margin of profits which is comparable to what is going on in the plastic. And then for capital to follow, access to capital is important. So there are impact pools of capital which are being developed, which exist now, but they exist in a format which requires risk to be diced up. So you need to have a framework of risk management, which to me, ESG, as they call it now in the impact finance space, is no longer, it's not a trend. ESG is a risk framework now. You have to have environmental, social, and governance kind of principles along these startups to actually say, I want to be funded. To Remy's point, how do we find the small capital? That actually exists now in terms of accelerators like we are trying to run, okay? Accelerators provide that small capital, the seed capital that is required for innovative technologies, which may be two people on the field, on the garage, or, and what we call risk capital, seed capital. So that is available now, but it needs to start out in a framework which clearly articulates the value proposition. So I think it's available and it can be done.
So really thinking about that framework when you start finding that small capital where it exists. Yes. And hopefully it sounds like encouraging a lot of others to create these pockets where you can get small capital or create small capital for startups. I think that's
yeah, and it's not just accelerators. I think increasingly you will have philanthropic capital, which will also move into the space. We are trying to see a convergence between philanthropic capital, which is moving towards impact returns, and you're seeing larger capital pools pushing towards impact returns. So it's a nice confluence.
And we mentioned a lot of things already. You mentioned ESG, but we already also talked about a little bit of the political risks. I'm curious to hear from your perspectives. What are some of those risks that might be a little bit more unique, or specifically something that startups need to be thinking about when creating that framework? And again, I guess these risks are not solely for startups, but just for anyone in the plastic waste space. So Remy, maybe I'll pass it to you. I know you touched on that a little bit earlier.
Let's say it's a tricky discussion. Everything touching the political in our countries seems to be a bit complex. So what I'm trying to do as well in Ivory Coast is to develop, for example, bioplastics. So you have in one hand you have to solve the plastic waste, and in another waste, and you have to develop the new use of plastic with bioplastics. You know that the real bioplastic developed, for example, by BASF as really sustainable, biodegradable, etc., but a little bit more expensive. But if you look at all the value chain of use of this plastic, it's very interesting, because you don't have to collect after that. You don't have to recycle after that. So of course it's a bit more expensive. So one key topic behind is to discuss with the politics and authorities to change, for example, the tax of importation, which would be a level of discussion, but it's a long-term discussion, really.
Yeah.
And
I'm with.
Go for it, Yash.
No, they come with Remy there. I was just going to say that the political will, if you're in a country like, say, in Australia, and they tell you there is, or Europe, and there is a tax for plastic, or there is a Vietnam which has just said no to plastic bags whatsoever, then that becomes a push, or the plastic tax tries to come in. But as Remy said, that takes time for countries to adopt, and they're in different levels of adoption, right? So while it can become a great, push factor if you have the regulatory hurdles. So if you had a plastic tax in place, that takes a lot of political will. And sometimes in countries like in Africa or different parts of Asia, you'll find that is very hard. That is very hard to actually get in and get that going. So I do feel that sort of, that's a wish list that everybody might have. But despite that, I feel capital and money, if you actually start making money out of plastic waste, then people will follow that suit of innovation technology. If you have comparable technologies like you were suggesting, whether it's bioplastics or other things, that you will soon find if there is an application for it. So if I take the plastics and we are trying to do a project in which it makes itself into bricks building material after that. So if you can, that becomes, let's say, a sustainable product in which you don't have to have as an alternate building material or something, that to me, and then you make money out of those bricks at the same level as you would say make out of a natural material or otherwise, that's when it starts making interesting to everybody along the value chain. And the reality is financial incentives are key to driving human behavior, which way or the other.
That is very true. That is very true. And I think both things that you guys said really resonates with the mantra of the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, which is, a lot of people need to come together to solve this problem. It's the corporations across the value chain coming together. It's the startups, it's the investments, it's the regulators, it's the governments, right? This is something that we can't do alone, and it requires this cross-industry, cross-value chain collaboration, which I think is super, super important. So, one thing I like to ask, and maybe as we start wrapping up here, I'd like to see, because we have a lot of different people in the audience. It will be from corporations to investors to startups to anyone who's really concerned about this challenge and is joining the mission as well. So I'm curious, from your perspective, if you had to encourage people, encourage the audience, what's that one or two pieces of advice that you would want to say to help move the needle, to help move and solve the plastic waste issue? So maybe Remy, I'll pass it to you if there's anything you want to mention.
For me, one of the key points is to change the behavior and to show that, to train the people, to train the children, to train young people at school to think differently. It's the first. After that, you have the adults people. You have to change the behavior, and to change the behavior of the adults is to show them that they could probably save money. We speak about the money, and the money is always the key point everywhere. And after that, the next point is to push advocacy, to discuss with authorities, to discuss with customs, to discuss with all specific cooperation like GIZ, AHK, Chambre de Commerce, etc., etc. So for me, it's a long journey, but it will be okay if everybody following the trends.
Yeah, love it. Yash, anything from your side?
Yeah, my single line to anybody in the audience would be like this: there is somehow a myth that doing good is somehow unprofitable. The reality is doing good and doing right is extremely profitable. And that is the takeaway to go with it. That if you do good, you are actually going to make superb amount of returns. Financial returns are commensurate of doing good and doing right. So this myth that sustainability is equal to giving up financial returns needs to go away. And that narrative needs to change now.
Yeah. I'd agree with both what you guys said. Well, look, I think we covered a lot of ground. I just first want to say thank you guys for being part of this mission, doing some great work, advocating and sharing your thoughts and insights as well. So wanted to first say thank you guys and looking forward to working with you guys as well in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Remy. Nice meeting you both.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights. For closing remarks, I'm going to introduce you to Matt Claxton. He is the Global Director of Sustainability at Plug and Play. Matt, take it from here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew Claxton. I'm the Global Director of Sustainability at Plug and Play, and I cannot be more thrilled and excited that we're finally kicking off our Johannesburg office. On behalf of Plug and Play, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us for today's event. And if you're interested in getting involved or engaged with us, please feel free to reach out to myself or a member of the Plug and Play sustainability team, and we're more than happy to chat with you. And if you're interested in attending future events, please make sure to follow us on LinkedIn, because that's where we'll be announcing our public events coming up. And again, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you want to connect and learn more. Email is in the chat. Also, you can see the email on the screen here. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to talk soon.